Hi there. So this is my digital story video. My composer was Pierre de la Rue, and I am Tiffany Turkovich. Let's get started. So, biography of Pierre de la Rue. That was his most common name, but he also had a lot of other nicknames, which I listed. He was most likely born in 1452 in Tournai, France, but this is not exactly agreed upon because his early documents were destroyed by war damage. But it is known that he died in 1518 in Kortrijk, Belgium, just 2 years after writing his will, which was convenient because he was extremely wealthy and had to put all that money somewhere. He was a Franco-Flemish, which is French and English composer and a singer as well. He was known as one of the most influential composers of the Netherlands polyphonic style of his era. A little more about him. Again, not much is known about his early life before his career began, so we're not exactly sure where he was raised or educated. But what we do know is that he served royals at court for most of his life, from Maximilian to King Charles V, and everyone in between. He began his career at the Collegiate Church of St. Aude as a clergyman, as well as a chansonnier, which is French for songwriter. His first recorded employment was in 1492 at the Habsburg Burgundian Chapel in Brussels, England. We'll talk about the Burgundy family in just a bit. He performed for King Philip and later his widow Juana in Spain. So once King Philip died, he grew very close with Juana. She's actually pictured below. And more than 50 of his works have been preserved, which is great. A little musical context. So Pierre lived during the Renaissance, which means rebirth. So out with the old and with the new. Lots of art, literature, music, and architecture were just being circulated throughout Europe at this time. As I mentioned earlier, the House of Burgundy and the Valois family were the main rulers at this time. There's actually a map pictured below of just where they were spread out. And they brought a lot of conflict with religion, just because some rulers were Catholic, some rulers were Protestant, and they tended to switch back and forth. Some rulers were more tolerant than others, and it grew very confusing for the people as far as what to practice and what they truly believed. As far as music goes, though, composers would travel and add a flair of each country's musical style to their music, making them very international with their pieces. And just some of the traits of each country that we've talked about have been listed here. So England with their striving for perfection, and Italy with their drama, and France with their rhythm and innovation and ars nova, all that great stuff. So just a little more with the Renaissance. We have Mona Lisa pictured on the left, and we have St. Peter's Basilica on the right, with all that rich culture. A little more context about the Franco-Flemish composers. So they traveled amongst churches and courts all over Europe. They were known for writing mass and motet as far as genre. They expanded upon the fixed form. They used more than 4 voices, so expanding to 5, 6, even 8 in some cases. A lot of their texture was mostly polyphonic. They started using homorhythm and eventually moved to homophony. They were mostly known for their imitation and borrowed melodies as well as original. So kind of going back and forth between those, and Pierre is an excellent example of that. Although he doesn't do as much instrumental music, that is a Franco-Flemish composer trait. And harmonically, they use full triads instead of fifths and octaves at cadences, but Pierre tends to do both. We will look at that in a second. So about the genres that he wrote in specifically, he wrote both secular and sacred music. He was most famous for his canonic religious writing, so mass and mass movement were the most common, but he also wrote chanson and motet. As I mentioned earlier, more than 50 of his works still exist. 29 of them were masses, and 25 motets take a close second, so you can tell where his preferences lie. A bit about his style. He was known for balancing borrowed with original material. That was what he was pretty famous for. His cantus firmus masses took from one or more of the following within a single work a lot of the time. His chant models, his own chanson, other popular melodies, a few secular tunes, and sometimes even just completely unidentified polyphonic models. He had a lot of collaboration as well with other composers at the time. A little more. He was often compared with Josquin, who we talked about in class, just because of their similarities in style. They both shared an interest in paired voicing, for example. Pierre would write with 4 to 8 equal voices to provide some textual contrast between mass movements. 4 was the most common, but his 6 and 8 voice credos were the most famous. And his length was a little unpredictable, ranging anywhere between 34 to 300 breves. I hope I said that correctly. So the first work I wanted to analyze was the L'Homme Arme Mass, Part 1. So it is a Latin imitation mass. It has a G modal center, but D is also a pretty common pitch. There are 4 equal conjunct voices that share a borrowed melody. It is a polyphonic piece. Sorry about that. It has a 3/2 meter with some syncopation, and it has an ABA form. So we'll listen to a bit of that right now. So very clear polyphony here with lots going on in each voice, ending on that very consonant chord. We will continue to the next piece. Also the Kyrie from the Ave Maria Mass. It is also a Latin imitation Mass. However, the modal center is A. It begins on C and ends on E and A, but A is the most common pitch throughout the piece. The melody also has, like the previous piece, 4 equal conjunct voices that share a borrowed melody, which is what Pierre was known for. It is polyphonic again. The meter is different. It is 4/4 with some syncopation as well. ABA form again. Here is a picture of the first page of music, and we will listen to a bit of that. This is performed a 4th lower. I just wanted to make note of that. I thought it was interesting how the 3 lower voices were written in the movable alto clef. I just wanted to make note of that. I don't know why that is. Maybe it's just this notation in the video, but there's that A and E. So Pierre Delarue's importance to Western music history. Quite a lot, I thought. He played a significant role in the development of the imitation mass because of his mastery of the cantus firmus, as we talked about earlier with that balance of borrowed and original material. He was considered one of the greats of counterpoint in canonic voicing. Canonic voicing and canonic writing is just another word for religious writing. He was one of the first composers to have written a complete set of Magnificat settings on every tone, but not all have been accounted for. I looked up Magnificat, and it means it is a hymn or chant used in Christian liturgy at Vespers or evening masses, and the text is from the hymn of Virgin Mary in the book of Luke in the Bible. So lots of importance there. Yeah, so I guess that's it. Here's my works cited page. Thank you very much.